Hello, how are you? I'm fine, thank you. Sit down, please. I'd like to speak English today too, to improve my speaking skill. Let's get it started. Today, it is August 2nd and 2023. It's on Wednesday, and it's sunny outside. How are you spending Wednesday? How do you like Wednesday? Do you have a work or a school today? Or is it a day off today? It depends on, rests on, hinges on your schedule. I was conscious of someone stalking behind me, but I pretend not to be noticed. But I pretend that I hadn't noticed. But I pretended that I hadn't noticed. I was conscious of someone stalking behind me, but I pretended that I hadn't noticed. I was not conscious of that I was wearing my clothes inside out. I was not conscious of me wearing the t-shirt inside out. I sometimes not conscious of me wearing trousers inside out. I am sometimes not conscious of me wearing the t-shirt inside out. Are you even conscious of you irritating me? Some people are not even conscious of them irritating us. Some people are not even conscious of them irritating us. And some people are not conscious of them irritating us. Some people are even not conscious of irritating us, annoying us. If you practice playing the musical instrument consciously, the improvement speed will faster. Consciously. And some people wear brand clothes consciously in order to appeal to others. Some people bring brand bags or other brand merchandises in order to appear consciously. If you practice playing the musical instrument consciously as you were told from your teacher, it will improve. Your skill will improve. I was told that I cannot understand the meaning of English spoken unless I listen to it carefully, consciously. Unless I listen to the English spoken consciously, I cannot understand, said the English teacher. I was told that I couldn't understand the English spoken without listening to it consciously. I was told that I couldn't understand English spoken unless I listened to it consciously from my teacher. Consciously. Do you have a diet consciously about your health? Do you decide the balance of the menu, what you eat consciously for your health? Do you decide what you eat consciously for your health? Consciously. Do you decide what you eat consciously for your health. Consciously, 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 consciously. I drove my car consciously so that I won't get into accident. In order that I won't get into accident. Get into accident consciously. Consciously. Consciousness. I almost lost consciousness after realizing that I lost the examination. I almost lost my consciousness when I realized that I had failed in the examination. I almost lost my consciousness when I realized that I had lost the examination. Failed in the examination. I almost lost consciousness when I realized that I failed in the examination. I almost lost consciousness realizing I had failed in the examination. Consciousness. Consciousness might be only thing which cannot be imitated by AI. Consciousness might be only thing which cannot be imitated by AI. Consciousness. I study English with the consciousness of improving my skill. I practice speaking English with the consciousness of improving. I study English and other subjects, academic subjects, with the consciousness of improving and making my life more affluent, abundant, colorful. I study English and other academic subjects for myself, to make my life better. Consciousness. I almost lost consciousness when I realized that I had failed in the examination. I almost lost my consciousness. I almost lost consciousness. I almost lost consciousness. I almost lost consciousness when I realized that I had failed in the examination. Consciousness. Consciously. I drove my car so carefully and consciously in order that I won't get into the accident. I drove my car carefully and consciously for fear that I will get into the accident, lest I should get into the accident. In case I should get into the accident. The whole bird penetrated into the soil. The whole bird failed to penetrate the soil. The whole bird emitted from the athlete failed to penetrate the soil. Failed to penetrate the soil. The whole bird emitted from the athlete failed to penetrate the soil. The bullet emitted from the gun is strong enough to penetrate the wall. The bullet emitted from the gun is super strong enough to be able to penetrate the wall. Penetrate. It was not wrong that it was not wrong and it was not wrong before the internet penetrated the world. It was not wrong that smartphone penetrated the world. It was not wrong that the musician became famous. It was not wrong before the video game and the console penetrated the world. It was not wrong before the video games and the game console penetrated the world. Penetrate. 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 It was not wrong before the internet penetrated the world. It was not wrong before the internet penetrated the world. It was not wrong before the internet penetrated into the world. It was not wrong before the smartphones penetrated in the world. It was not wrong before the internet penetrated in the world. It was not wrong before the internet penetrated in the world. It was not wrong before the internet penetrated in the world. How long will it take for the medicine to penetrate in my body and start to work? Start to take effective, come into effect. How long will it take to for the medicine to penetrate in my body? I'd like to know how long it will take for the medicine to take effective, come into effect in my body. I'd like to have an instant effect because I'm suffering from the pain so much. I'd like to have the instant treatment. I'd like to know how soon I can get the effect if I take the medicine. I'd like to know how soon I can get the effect if I drink it now, if I take it now, if I have it now. A doctor, how long will it take for the medicine to penetrate in my body? The bullet emitted from the gun is strong enough to penetrate into the wall. The bullet emitted from the gun was strong enough to be able to penetrate into a couple of pet bottles filled with water in the experiment. I watched a YouTube video in which the bullet of a gun penetrated into a couple of pet bottles filled with water. I'd like to know how soon the medicine will be effective, coming into effect, because I'd like to have the instant effect. I'm suffering from the pain a lot. I want to be released from the pain. I want to be loose. I want to be loose from the pain. I'd like to know how soon the medicine will penetrate in my body. I'd like to know how soon the medicine will penetrate in my body. I'd like to know how soon the medicine will penetrate. It was not long before the internet penetrated in the world. It was not long before the video games and the game consoles penetrated in the world. When the man kicked the wall with anger, it penetrated. When the man kicked the wall with anger, it penetrated into the wall. When the man kicked the wall with anger, his leg penetrated into the wall. When the idol appeared on the stage, all of the fans stared at them with a staring eyesight. As soon as the idol appeared on the stage, all of the fans turned a penetrating sight to him. As soon as the idol appeared on the stage, all of the fans directed a penetrating eyesight to him. Turned penetrating eyesight to him. Turned penetrating stare to him, at him. As soon as the idol appeared on the stage, all of the fans directed a penetrating stare at him. As soon as the musician appeared on the stage, all of the fans turned penetrating stare at them. Penetrating hotness. Please be careful of penetrating hotness, coldness. I suffer from both penetrating hotness and coldness every year, summer and winter. So I think many people prefer spring and autumn with moderate temperature. Penetrating coldness, penetrating hotness, penetrating hotness, penetrating hotness, penetrating hotness, penetrating stare at the fans. All of the students were turning penetrating stare at the teacher and the lecturer before the examinations in the class. In the class, all of the students were giving penetrating stare at the teacher and the lecturer before the examinations. Some students gives penetrating stare at the lecture only before examinations. Some students were giving penetrating stare at the lecture only before examinations. Why are you this kind of person? Penetrating. I suffer from penetrating hotness and coldness every year, in spring, in winter and summer. Penetrating painful. Penetrating itchiness was alleviated with a medicine injection. I sometimes or frequently suffer from penetrating itchiness, but it was alleviated, calmed down to a certain extent by the new medicine. Penetration of The rumor into the region was so fast. Penetration of the movement. Penetration of the boom of drinking tapioca juice. Penetration of drinking tapioca juice. Penetration of the video game console was so fast. Penetration of the usage of smartphone. Penetration of utilizing AI is accelerating. The penetration of the usage of AI's robots machines will be accelerated more and more with time. Penetration of the bullet. I was surprised at the penetration of the bullets on such a tough, hard, solid iron plates along the train station. Penetration. I was stunned by the penetration of bullets into such tough irons along the station. I was astonished by the penetration made by bullets into such hard iron plates along the station. Penetration, 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 penetration. The stacked stones prevented the bullets from penetrating into it. The stacked up stones, ishigaki, prevented bullets from penetrating. Penetration. Penetration of the wall. Penetration of the wall. Penetration of the video games and the console. Penetration of the usage of AI. When we try something new, we might be awkward, but some people show excellence at what they have done for the first time. I still feel awkward when I drive. I still feel awkward when I drive because I am not good at driving, especially in narrow spaces. So I am really waiting for all of the cars to be automated perfectly. And like all we have to do is to set up where we go, and we can do whatever we like inside, maybe sleeping or reading a book, working on something until we get to the destination. So maybe the concept for cars will be definitely, absolutely, thoroughly, inside out changed. Maybe it will be like a one-room apartment, maybe. Awkward. I still feel awkward when I drive. Whenever I drive, I feel awkward. Awkward. Although it has been a while since I got the driving license, I still feel awkward when I drive. Although many years have passed since I got the driving license, I still feel awkward when I drive. Although a couple of years have passed since I got the driving license, I still feel awkward. Although some years have passed since I got the driving license, I still feel awkward. Although some years have passed since I got the driving license, I still feel awkward. Although some years have passed since I got the driving license, I still drive my car awkwardly. Although some years have passed since I got the driving license, I still drive my car awkwardly, 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 awkwardly. Although some years have passed since I got the driving license, I still drive my car awkwardly, awkwardly, awkwardly. I saw some new employees operating the machine awkwardly. I sometimes come across new drivers driving awkwardly. I sometimes come across new drivers soon after they have got a driving license, parking their cars awkwardly, slowly, and slowly. I sometimes run into a new driver parking his or her car awkwardly. I sometimes come across a new driver parking his or her car in a parking lot awkwardly, 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 awkwardly. I sometimes run into a new driver parking his or her car in the parking lot awkwardly, awkwardly, awkwardly. Awkwardly, 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 awkwardly. I might be too timid to challenge new things. Many people are too timid to challenge. But I don't want to regret my life, so I try to challenge what I have interest in, what I am interested in. As the proverb goes, even a garbage creates a mountain if it is stacked up a lot. As the local spirit, we should avoid taking the route. As the local spirit, we should try the local traditional food. Timid. timid, 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 timid. I'm too timid to ask her for a date. I'm too timid to ask her for her phone number. Timid, timid. I was more timid in the past, but I improved the timid personality by challenging more and more and experiencing more and more. I was more timid in the past, but I tried to overcome the timid personality by having more experiences and challenging. I was more timid in the past and escaped from challenging. But I hated the past and I super regretted not challenging more things in the past. So I tried to change the timid personality gradually by rack up my courage and challenge more things. I was more timid in the past and avoided challenging, which I really regret. So I tried to change my timid personality by challenging more things, stacking up, piling up more experiences. The more I have experienced, the better I became. The more I stacked up experiences, the less I became timid. 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 Don't call me timid. Don't call me timid. Don't call others timid. 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 And some people are super aggressive in a group, but they tend to be super timid when they are alone. Some people are aggressive in a group, but they tend to be super timid when they are alone. They can be aggressive only in a group. I was more coward in the past, but I try to overcome, get over, conquer the timid personality by trying to experience more things. The more experience I had, the less coward I became. The more experiences I had, the less coward I became. Coward, 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 coward. Coward, 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 coward. When we try something totally new, we might be coward because there is no information at all. So we might become coward. When we walk in the dark totally, we will be coward because there might be a hole in front. There might not be a street in front, and we might fall in the hole. We don't know in the dark. There is no information in the dark, so we might be a coward. It's very careful. It's very scary to walk in the dark totally, without street light at all. We might bump into a wall. So having more experiences are similar to liking the places surrounding us gradually, for me, I think. Don't call me coward. I was more coward in the past, enough to be afraid of entering the restaurant. It would be regarded as rude to stare at someone, gaze at someone. I had a chance to get a glimpse of the superstar coming out of the exit hall. I had a chance to have a glimpse of the superstar coming out of the exit. I had a chance to catch a glimpse of the superstar coming out of the truck. Have you caught sight of someone's celebrity by accident? Have you caught sight of someone's celebrity by accident? Stare at something might be the evidence that you are really into that. Staring at something might be the proof that you have the interest in that. I'd like all of the documents to tear up before throwing them away. I thought of disposing of them by shredder, but my shredder is too small to dispose of them at once. So I'd like your company to dispose of all of the documents by tearing them down and by tearing them up perfectly. How much is it? I thought of disposing of all of the documents with my shredder, but my shredder is too small to do the work, so I'd like your company to dispose of all of the documents by tearing them up totally. How much is it? Would you mind help me taking down the posters on the electrical board? Would you mind helping me take down the posters on the walls? Could you help me tear down the posters on the wall? Tearing down a house is also cost. Tearing down a house also cost. Tearing house down also cost. Tearing down a house also costs. Cost. Everything costs. Everything is without costing. Tearing a house down also cost. Tearing down a house also cost. Taking down a house also cost. Taking a house down also cost. Taking a house down also cost. Taking a house down also cost. Tear it down. How much does it cost to tear my house down? Please tear the documents up with a shredder before throwing them into the garbage can, okay? Please make sure to tear the documents up with a shredder. If the temperature of the shredder goes up to a certain degrees, it will stop. So please dispose of the documents little by little every day. And then we can throw them away by the deadline. Garbage collecting day. I'd like my desktop computer tear down and delete all of the memories so that my privacy will not be released. I'd like to have my desktop computer destroyed, taken down, toned down perfectly, so that my private information will not be released. How much is it? If it is possible, I'd like to find a company to do the job for free. I'd like my desktop computer to be toned down totally, absolutely, definitely, perfectly, thoroughly. I'd like to have my desktop computer toned down. I'd like to have my desktop computer my desktop computer to tone down. I'd like to have my broken desktop computer toned down. I'd like to have my broken desktop computer toned down, taken down perfectly, so that my private information will not be released. Tear down, tear down, tear down, tear down. Tearing a house down also cost. Tearing a house down also cost. Do you know how to extinguish fire with the extinguisher? All of the staffs working in the facility should know how to extinguish fire with the extinguisher. Extinguishing wildfires take time, and I don't know if it is possible. Because recently I often see the news of wildfires due to the heat waves in the world. I don't know if it is possible to extinguish all of the wildfires, because such a lot of water will be needed. Extinguish. Do you know how to extinguish fire smoothly, technically, wisely, cleverly, efficiently? Do you know how to extinguish fire? Extinguish. Extinguish all of the information. The question company attempted to extinguish all of the information related to the incident. The fire was beyond the reach of extinguishable level. Extinguishable. 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 A certain level of fire will be extinguishable. A certain level of fire will be extinguishable. The fire happened in the factory was beyond the extinguishable level. The fire aroused in the factory was beyond the extinguishable level. Extinguishable level. The fire aroused in the factory was beyond the extinguishable level. Extinguishable. 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 A certain level of fire will be extinguishable with the extinguisher. If the fire exceeds a certain level, which will be not extinguishable. A certain level of fire, a certain scale of fire will be extinguishable with the extinguisher. Extinguishable. Extinguishable. Please make sure to extinguish all of the fire until they are still extinguishable. 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 The super aircraft with lots of water can extinguish much scale of fire from the sky. The big fire is extinguishable in no time by pouring such amount of water from the aircraft. It is restricted that all of the facility should be equipped with certain number of extinguishers. Extinguisher. It is restricted that the facility must be equipped with certain number of extinguishers, and the staffs need to be educated to be able to use extinguishers. Extinguisher. Extinguisher. Do you know how to use extinguisher? Extinguisher. The red one. Please use the extinguisher as experiment to know if it works regularly. Because it is the worst if it doesn't work when fire happens. Come about, arise, arouse. Extinguisher, extinguisher, extinguisher. The red one, right? How many extinguishers are equipped with in the facility? Is the number of extinguishers enough to stop all of the fire in the facility? I was ordered that I should refrain from drinking a cup of coffee from a doctor for my illness, ailment, disease. The tourists are refrained from entering the dangerous zone when taking a picture. The tourist in the park is advised to refrain from entering the dangerous zone, which are cordoned off with a rope for taking a picture. The tourists in the park are advised to refrain from entering the banned zones, cordoned off with the rope, blocked off by the rope, blocked off with the rope for taking a picture. Please refrain from smoking in the train. Please refrain from eating, drinking, and smoking in the park. Some people go to Okinawa for the rest of their life after retirement and so on. Are you planning to live in Hokkaido for the rest of your life? Are you planning to live in Okinawa for the rest of your life? I will deposit the rest of the profits into my bank account for rainy day. I will keep the rest of the budget in my bank account for a rainy day. Let's keep the rest of the budget for a rainy day. Let's keep the rest of the budget for the next company picnic. Let's keep the rest of the budget for a rainy day. Let's set aside the rest of the budget for next year. Let's set aside the rest of the budget for a rainy day. Restroom. Can I try that on in a fitting room? Where is the fitting room? Where is the restroom? Rest. Now, having a rest is no less important than having a sleep is. Having enough sleep is. Taking a rest is no less important than eating vegetables. Taking a rest is no less important than eating vegetables is. And taking a rest is no less important than eating vegetables is. Rest. Rest. Let's take a rest at the corner. Let's take a rest at the lodge. Excuse me, is there a lodge to have a rest, to take a rest? Excuse me, I'm new to this mountain. Is there a lodge or something like that to have a rest on the way? Excuse me, we are new to this mountain. I'd like to know if there is a lodge or something like that to take a rest nearby here. Excuse me, is there a lodge or toilet or something like that to take a rest along here, along the way, on the way, near here? Excuse me, is there a lodge or toilet or something like that to take a rest near here? Take a rest, have a rest, take a rest, take a rest, have a rest, take a break, have a break. Let's rest in the lodge. Let's rest in the lodge. We should take a rest. Is there a place we can rest? Is there a place where we can rest on the way? On the way to the summit of the mountain. Is there a spot where we can rest on the way to the summit of the mountain? Is there a place where we can rest on the way to the summit of the mountain? Is there a place where we can rest? Excuse me, is there a place or similar one where we can rest? Rest. Let's rest. Take a rest, have a rest, take a break, have a break. Rest. Let's rest regularly. Please make sure to rest regularly. Please make sure to rest regularly. Please make sure to rest regularly. Please make certain to rest regularly. Please be sure to rest regularly. Please be sure to rest regularly. Please be sure to rest regularly. Please make certain 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 to rest regularly. Rest, rest, rest. 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 Please make certain to 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 rest regularly. On a regular basis. On a regular basis. Please make sure to rest on a regular basis. Rest your body on a regular basis. Do not keep doing until you break your health. Please rest your body. Rest your body. Rest your body. Please rest your body before you break your health, okay? Rest. Please rest your body. Please rest your body. Let's rest our body at some point on the way before we get super tired, get exhausted. Let's rest our body. Let's rest our body. Let's rest our body. Let's rest our body at some point on the climb of the mountain. You need to rest your body before you break your health. You need to rest your body on a regular basis. We need to rest our body on a regular basis. We ought to rest our body on a regular basis. We ought to rest our body on a regular basis. We ought to rest our body on a regular basis. I tend to feel restless whenever the day before my performance. Restless. I tend to be restless in a new environment. Some people are inclined to be restless in a new environment. Some people are up to be restless in a new environment when they sleep in a new hotel and so on. Restless, 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 restless. In order to remove or alleviate restless feelings, I try to meditation. I try to adopt meditation. I try to adopt Zen meditation. Zazen. I try to employ Zen meditation. Zazen. Whenever I feel restless, I was advised to have a deep breath. Take in deep breath and breathe out slowly. Whenever I feel restless, I am advised to have a deep breath. Take in a deep breath and breathe it out and breathe out slowly. Restless. I still remember the restless feeling the day before examination. I still remember the restless feeling of before the examination. I still remember the restless feeling of before the examination. Restless, restless. Restless, restless. Restless feeling prevented me from falling asleep. Restless feeling hinders me from falling asleep. Restless feeling hampers me from falling asleep. Restless feeling hampers me from sleeping. Restless feeling hinders me from sleeping. Restless, 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 restless. How can I deal with restless feeling? How can I alleviate my restless feeling? How can I cope with my restless feeling? Restless, 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 restless. Bread easy to decay. Bread is easy to decay. So the fresh term of bread is so short. So we should eat soon after the cooking, produce. The basement of the house can decay due to the base eaten by Shiro-ari, the white ant. With the wicked, evil chief executive officer aiming for only profits. The company decayed. The company decayed with the entrepreneur aiming for only profits and never treated the employees as human. The company decayed with the leadership of the wicked CEO aiming for only profits and never treated its employees as human. Some promising careers which were evaluated in the past are starting to decay because of the generation change. Once promising careers which were evaluated, assessed, well valued in the past are starting to decay. Food is easy to decay. Foods are easy to decay without proper maintenance. Even with proper maintenance, food is usually easy to decay, so we should eat before the use-by date. More and more industries which were promising and well valued in the past and now might decay with time because the common senses are changing gradually, so nothing will be perfect. Innovation will be inevitable to keep competitive in the world. The once promising industries well valued in the past might decay in the future. There is no guarantee that the industry will last, will keep lucrative forever. Spoiling might be one of the factors decaying us, kids, children, and so on. Spoiling Spoiling might be one of the causes decaying the children. Decay. A lack of exercise might decay our body. Years of blank might decay our skills. Long-term blanks will decay our skill, ability, and so on. So we should practice on a regular basis. Whether or not the sports meeting will be held rests on the weather. Whether or not the sports meeting will be held rests on the weather. Whether or not the sports meeting will be held on Sunday as scheduled depends on up to rest on the weather. Rest on the weather. Whether the bill will be passed into law rests on the decisions by the citizens in the end. If more than half of the voters vote in favor of the bill, it will be enacted. Hmm. Hmm. How much score you will get on the test rests on your effort. How much score you can get on the test rests on how much effort you put on the study. Years of length will decay your skills and abilities. Years of no touch to the operation will decay your skills or abilities. Years of no maintenance of the house decay some parts of it. Years of no touch and maintenance of the house decay some parts of it. Humidity is the perfect factor to decay everything. High humidity is a perfect cause to decay objects. Humidity and water are the perfect causes to decay objects. Spoiledness is one of the causes, I bet, to decay children. Being in a comfortable zone, I bet, is one of the causes to decay in the industry and never grow. Being in a comfortable zone and never challenge new things in afraid of making a mistake will be one of the causes to decay in the industry. A savior sometimes bring up, appear, submerge in order to save the decayed industry. A savior sometimes emerge so as to save the decayed industry. Decay, 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 decay. Proper maintenance of the food will deter the decay of the food. Proper maintenance will deter the decay of the food. Proper maintenance will prevent the decay of the camera lens. Decay. The newly inaugurated CEO stopped the decay of the company by inventing new devices which are selling well now. The newly inaugurated executives stopped the decay of the company by changing the logo of the company and inventing many incredible products which are selling well now. Decay of once promising, well-reputed industries are inevitable in the future with the development of new technologies such as AI, machines, robots, and so on. The decay of once promising industries will be inevitable in the future. In order to prevent, hinder, hamper the decay of my physical education ability, I have a regular exercise, practice, and so on. So as to stop, hinder, prevent, hamper the decay of my ability of physical education, I have a regular exercise, training, practice, and so on. Humidity will contribute to the decay of the food. Humidity and the wet will contribute to the decay of the food. Unfortunately, my skin problem is deteriorating. The more you have unhealthy lifestyle, the worse your health will deteriorate. The nearer the typhoon approaches, the strength deteriorated more. The nearer the typhoon approaches my area, the stronger the typhoon deteriorated. As the weather approaches summer, my skin problem deteriorated. Unhealthy lifestyle will deteriorate your health. Unhealthy lifestyle will deteriorate your health. Unhealthy lifestyle is one of the factors, elements, causes to deteriorate your health. Stress is one of the causes to deteriorate my skin problems. Stress is one of the causes to deteriorate my itchiness. Deterioration of the economy should be avoided. Deterioration of the economy should be avoided. Deterioration of the economy since 30 years ago. Deterioration of the economy due to the pandemic is being recovered gradually after the lift of the border measure. Deterioration of the economy in especially tourism industry was so bad during the pandemic, but it is being recovered gradually thanks to the lift of the border measures. Deterioration of the environment should be avoided. Deterioration of the ailment, disease, illness. Deterioration of test score, examination score. Deterioration of the result of the test. Deterioration of the result was caused by lack of study. Deterioration of the TOEIC score was caused by lack of study, want of study. Deterioration of the new version of the PC. Deterioration of the product will be caused with time. Deterioration of environment should be avoided. Deterioration of my illness, disease, ailment. Deterioration of my illness, disease, ailment. Deterioration You cannot be too careful when you cross the street. You cannot be too careful when you swim in the sea. I cannot say thank you too much for for what you have done to me. I will return the favor to you next someday. I cannot say thank you too much for what you have done for me. I will return the favor to you someday. I cannot help. I cannot help studying English every day. I cannot help saying thank you to you. I cannot help sending a letter to you for what you have done for me. I cannot help sending you a letter in appreciation for what you have done for me. I couldn't help sending a letter and some souvenirs to you in appreciation for what you have done for me ever. I couldn't help sending you my letter and some souvenirs from Japan in appreciation for what you have done for me. I couldn't help sending a letter and some souvenirs from Japan in appreciation for what you have done for me. I cannot help but do what I love. I cannot help but playing video games. I couldn't help playing video games. I couldn't help playing video games in those days, which I really regret. I couldn't help playing the video games. I couldn't help playing 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 video games. I couldn't help but play video games. I couldn't help but play video games. I couldn't help but playing video games. I couldn't help but play video games. I couldn't help but play video games. I couldn't help but play video games. I couldn't help taking a shower after the work during the day. During the work under the direct sunlight, strong sunlight. I could pass the examination, national examination, after 7th trial at last. Please make sure to turn off all of the switches when you leave the office at last. Please make certain to turn off all of the switches when you leave the office at last. Please make certain that you switch off all of the switches when you leave the office at last. At last. At last. At last. Please make certain that you turn off all of the switches, including air conditioner, computer, heater, coffee machines, and so on, when you leave the office at last. At last. At last. At last. Why not visit the curry restaurant at last to conclude our tour? Why not visit karaoke at last in order to conclude our tour? Why not go to ramen restaurant to conclude our tour at last? At last. At last. At last. I'd like to appreciate you for what you have done for me at last. Thank you. Okay, I will finish speaking here. Thank you for watching. See you next time. See you.